Doug. Today we're going to show you how to change out the mechanism in your Style & Motion product. To do this, we've assembled a bare wood frame so you can see what's going on, and we're also going to change out the mechanism on a fully upholstered piece like you would have in your showroom. For this, I've made a bare frame model so that it's easy to see everything, and then we also have a fully upholstered model where we'll actually change the mechanism out in that one so you can see exactly how to do it. Just a few notes. The switch is held into the arm with spring clips, so it's pretty easy to get out. It has a cord on the back that plugs into the back of the switch. The cord runs through the arm, out a hole in the back of the arm, and it plugs into the control box. The backrest motor also has a cord that plugs into the control box. Here you can see it's attached with two brackets, two pins, and a small motor. I'll go ahead and run it now so you can see how it works. The motor's also plugged into the control box. So the control box is the brains of the outfit. The front button opens and closes the back. If you hold it, it'll open it completely, the back and the footrest. The middle button controls the headrest motor. And the back button has an all closed function and an all open function. So I'm going to hit the all closed, which is the back of it. You can see it's closing the headrest into its upright position, and now the footrest is going down under the seat. One thing I'd like to point out is that the footrest is operated with a linkage that has a plastic hook on the end of it. If this hook comes unhooked from this round bar, then this is just freely moving and your footrest won't close completely when you close the chair. If you move it forward a little bit, you can get the hook shape back on there and press down with your fingers and snap it back in. We're now ready to remove the back from the mechanism. To do that, we want to open the footrest to the TV position, so the footrest just comes up and stops there. And we do that because that'll put slack in the headrest cord to make it easier to unplug. So, like almost all recliners, there's a spring clip and a bayonet that hooks onto a back post. So there's a couple of ways to get that off. One is to just hit the side of the mech, hold it up on one side, but don't take it all the way off. All right, the second way to release the back, other than hitting the side of it, is to take your finger, reach between the seat cushion and the back cushion, and pull out the spring clip while your second person rocks the clip and lifts it up at the same time. So you can see it released pretty easy. At this point, just lift it and lean it forward. Then we're going to unplug the top cord that's in the control box. At that point, we can lift and remove the back. So now that we've removed the back, we're going to remove the mechanism. But before that we do that, we have to cut the zip ties holding the switch cord from the arm to the mechanism. So what I'm going to do is open the mech all the way to make it easier to access them. We're going to cut the zip tie holding the switch cord, which is the bottom plug. And then there's one tied to the frame a little further on the other side. So I'm just taking my wire cutters, being careful not to cut the cord. Now we're going to close the mech all the way before we unplug the switch cord. So now the switch cord is unplugged, so it won't rip out when we remove the mechanism. So now we're ready to remove the mechanism from the chassis. On each side there's a spring clip, a release arm that you lift up. Next we'll lift the mechanism up to release it from the cam. You can hear a loud click, and then you would One person will pull forward, the other one will lift up to remove the mechanism. When we go to put the mechanism back in, I want to point out a couple of things. One, on the back edge of the mechanism, there's a large guide rivet. This sits on the top of the chassis and slides back into a hook, so the hook goes behind it. This also locks on the front. So on the chassis, the guide rivet sits on top of this piece of metal on the chassis, and it slides back so that it's trapped by this hook. So we'll go ahead and put it in. Set it in evenly, and then slide it back quickly, all the way back. And now you can see that this line is parallel with the bottom of the chassis. That's how you know you for sure got it locked into position. Now that the mech is back into the chassis, I'm going to plug it back in. And now we have to reroute the switch cord, which goes behind the back tube. And plugs into the bottom socket. You can push that in with your finger. So now the switch cord's attached. I'm going to go ahead and open the mechanism so I have access to tie down the switch cord. So I'm going to come in with my wire tie. And then cut off the end. Put one zip tie around the back tube just to keep the cord from hanging down. And trim off the excess. Once the wire ties are secured, run the mechanism back and forth to test it and make sure that no cords are getting pulled or that they're not wearing on anything. I'm going to show you how to hook the pieces together. If it's a left-sitting piece, it always has a hook on it, a U-shaped hook, and on the opposite side, or the right-hand side, the opposite piece always has a hole in it for the hook to go into. So what you do is you slide the piece with the hole or the hook at a little angle, and then push it until the hook engages. And then we're going to put a bolt through this hole to lock it together. To bolt the pieces together, the tools we'll need are a 1/2-inch socket. I've got it attached to a impact driver, a 1/2-inch open-end wrench, a Phillips screwdriver, and the bolt that came in the bag with your instructions and warranty books. The bolt comes with the nut, 2 washers, and the bolt. Once you have the pieces together, to line it up, it's helpful to put the screwdriver through the hole and you can wiggle it around until it's lined up. It should be flush in the front. So I'm going to stick the bolt through the hole with 1 washer on it. Place the second washer in the nut and then tighten them slightly. Once this is together, you don't want to lift the piece anymore. All right, now today we're going to show you how to remove the mechanism from an upholstered piece and put in a new mechanism and reinstall that into the chair. So we're going to go ahead and, with the helper, we're going to go ahead and open the footrest just to the TV position. So when the footrest just gets to that point, stop. What we need that for is to get some slack in the cord, so we're going to remove the back. Hold this in. So you don't want to pull the back all the way up, you just want to tip it forward a little bit. That gives you slack to unplug the headrest motor cord. Once you have that, here's the headrest motor cord. Once you have that, you can remove the back. At this point, we're going to open it all the way to get access to the switch cord and cut the wire ties that are holding it in place. Just have a wire cutter. And I'm going to unplug the switch cord. It's the bottom cord in the control box. Next, we're going to remove the mechanism from the chair, but I'm going to close the mechanism first. Now I'm unplugging the switch cord. We're now ready to pull the mechanism out of the piece. Let me get this in there. There's two release levers underneath. We'll show you these later. And now we'll lift the front of the mechanism up. Pull forward. We're going to remove it from the chair. Unplug the cord, power cord, and then turn it upside down. And remove the footrest. We've removed the footrest. Now we're going to remove the seat from the frame. It has 10 millimeter, you need a 10 millimeter wrench, so I'm going to remove each one. There's 4 of them, 2 on each side. And then we're ready to lift the mech off of the frame. Set it to the side. Put it onto the front and the back hole. Replace the nuts. Don't over tighten them or you might break them off. All right, now we're going to put the footrest back on. Slide it under. Get them started by hand. Now we'll turn the mechanism over. Okay, now we're going to put the mechanism back into the cavity. Make sure that your guide rivets are on top of the track, and then push back, and then lower the front end. So now I'm going to plug in the switch cord. Goes in the bottom hole of the control box. And now I'm able to plug it back in and open the mechanism. So I have 2 wire ties with me. All right, now we're ready to close to the TV position. I'm going to run the mech in and out just to make sure no wires are pinched or too tight. So I'm going back to TV position and I'm going to replace the back. It's easiest to do this if you lay it on the seat and then roll it backwards so that the bayonets grab the posts on the mechanism. You want to just get it started enough so that you can plug in the headrest motor into the top or green location on the control box. Then just lean it back and push down until it clicks into place. Now we're ready to go ahead and test the chair functions. So we're going all the way open, testing the headrest, it's moving, testing the all control. And then of course sit in and try it. I hope this demonstration was helpful to you. If you have any further questions, please contact your support services rep at American Leather. Thank you.